Hi, welcome to If I Did It, a show where we analyze and solve pure kerfuffles from MMA. Word me up.
Yeah. Jesus Christy.
I'm your host, Lexi. All joining me as always is, I can't say as always.
Hey, man. Hey, man.
Miss one episode, everything goes down.
Oh, yo, look at Shabadoo.
hey, my consultant said more beret.
Exactly,
Okay,
there you go.
All right,
I do what I'm told. I'm good.
All right.
And Kid Named Bloody Elbow and EUGENE'S Robinson from Aussie.com offer to fight everything everyone know about asking. We're afraid to get your ass kicked for asking.
Also,
Team is back together, baby.
the singer, Thin Black Duke, buy the record.
Right.
Buy it. It's great.
Call me now.
Yeah.
So, Eugene,
Sir.
you're WME-IMG.
Women.
Last Friday's UFC Summer Kickoff press conference had the faint smell of red panties. As participants, live and in public, if you will, brawled, bragged, and boasted to become the new bull of the woods.
Mm-hmm.
Was the beef? What's the beef?
Oh, man. Guy was having a moment.
I know, exactly. There was a typo on this thing.
No, I thought you were having a heart attack, man.
Even better. Was the codification of your brand a good thing?
Listen, man, if you watch Knuckle Up, which is where I'm presuming you got this from, if you can't get, listen, there was a period that I went through where I was like having sex with like 8 women at a time, right? And somebody
all at once, or
all,
like...
well, in the same week, and somebody asked me a question about it, and I said, look, philosophically speaking, if I could have my needs fulfilled by one single person, I would do that, but I can't get that 100% from one person, so I get 12% here, and they all have like things that I really like about them. I wasn't
piece of my love.
I wasn't being a pig. It was just like this one could really cook well, and this one's really funny, and this one is. Then they all. So this is what WME-IMG. This is where we are in space. I got 100% guys. How many 100% guys do I have? I got Conor McGregor. I got Nick and Nate, who I can't, I still got the fucking stumbling block of the bald one in place, who scotches that up every time he tries to work with him, pisses him off somehow, and it doesn't end up happening. So I got Conor McGregor. That's it. Everybody else are fractional portions of a whole, and what better way to get that shit is to jubilee them. Just put them all at the same table, give them microphones, and if you don't think those guys knew what fucking time it was, you're crazy. You think Kevin Lee was wearing that shit 6 months ago? No. He went Jimi Hendrix because the cameras are on, and somebody kind of figured out the math. As long as the cameras are on, I gotta be entertaining because cameras are on because it's entertainment. So so this is it's not a loss because they can't come up with a Conor McGregor. That's not the strategy. The strategy is take 15 cents and 15 cents and 15 cents until you get yourself a solid fucking dollar. Because if you show me any even casual fans who are not geeked after seeing that, then you're crazy. People show up for personalities. The fight thing is almost incidental. Name a Larry Holmes fight. Go ahead. I dare you.
When he beat up Randall Tex Cobb, when he jabbed him in the face like for 9 rounds and flattened that cracker's nose, that was the thing.
Actually, the only reason you know that is because you're from Texas. I'm a fight fan, and I barely remember that.
Oh, and the Jerry Cooney fight, of course.
Yes, that Jerry
Cooney, yeah.
But why?
The Great White Hope.
Yeah, that Great White
I remember from the Sports Illustrated cover where they had one side of it was Larry Holmes towering over and knocked out Jerry Cooney. The other half was Jerry Cooney towering over and knocked out Larry Holmes.
Yeah.
Saw how that went.
Yeah.
That's how it went. Nate, what's your take?
Well, I think the Kevin Lee Michael Kisa thing that worked. That got a lot of views and a lot of clicks. And but it's
you notice they're not even talking about finding him. In other circumstances, in old press conferences where there's leathers, people getting fined, they're getting in trouble. That
was because this was in Texas, which is a business-friendly environment. They'd have to eat babies live on TV to get fined in Texas. They could whip out chains and switchblades, and I don't think that Texas. We don't even have a commission. We have a
Yeah,
board.
right.
Yeah, that only meets biannually. I don't think they'd do anything. But no, I don't know that they want to push it too far. But I think that what they got this weekend was a nice little mix of some people learning lessons from Conor and not so much trying to be Conor. Like,
Yeah, correct.
they've had some other press conferences where people were going too far trying to be Conor, which is just ill-advised.
Yeah, well, and if you can't do it, we
So
can't
do you
do
think
it
that
well.
was
It's
natural?
embarrassing.
Do you think they had some prep before it?
Do
Or
I think they had some prep?
Yeah. I mean, was there any official WME driven?
Not that I know of.
Have you ever been in the green room for a show like that? You know, they send that sleazy handler in, and they come and they'll tell you some shit like, well, just go out there, just be yourself, and you know exactly what they mean. They mean be everything but yourself. So you know,
Dude, you got to get the ficus plant off your head. It's.
I asked the wife if I looked all right, and she said you look fine.
Did she compare you to Pan, the great god of nature, or anything?
Yeah. I said it's a plant fucking things up. She goes, no, I like it.
Yeah, you're.
So keep it and see what you never know what's happened. Nate with the beret, Eugene with the plant on his head. Now, Nate, you're Luke Rockhold.
That's a natural fit.
After telling Dana White to shut his mouth, he told you to get back to modeling and leave the matchmaking to UFC. Is it time to move on or keep that beef simmering?
Keep it simmering, man. I mean, it's not like Rockhold has any great fights booked. He didn't talk his way into a title shot himself. So keep running your mouth. It's working for Ally Quintus, sorta. Dana White has no goodwill left. Like, fans are loving some of the videos that we're seeing. Like, we did a video a couple months ago, 10 angry things fighters said about the UFC, and that thing will not die. It keeps getting shared and shared and shared. People love to hate watch on Dana White these days. So I think Rockhold painting himself as the sand in the clamshell is, a pearl might emerge.
And yet, I hate to do this because it makes me seem like a company guy, but and yet I think the Baldwin spoke truth.
I didn't dispute that.
I mean, it's like what are you thinking, man? What are you thinking, Mr. Rockhold? What are you thinking? What are you doing? You know?
He's getting his name in the headlines is what he's doing.
Now, other than that, what do you think a 30-second fucking what is it? The cameo appearance is gonna do it? You know, you gotta realize when that mic is on and your kid, that's your time. And if you squander that time, you're just a guy who they dark starred.
How did he squander it though? We're talking about it. Like, that's the definition of not squandering your time.
You know, if I took a poop on the show right now, people would be talking about that tomorrow.
I'd just be saying you're still ripping off Gigi Allen. Aren't you tired of hearing that?
Most of the people watching this show do not know who Gigi Allen is. I would actually make the reference to Costes, Costes, the crazy Frenchman who did the same at a wonderful little house party art show. That was fantastic. Everybody's like, oh, he's so crazy. He's so French. He's ranting. And the music he's playing is playing off a little turntable with a 7-inch. And then he takes his clothes off. Oh, my God, this Frenchman is so crazy. We don't know what he's saying. And then he takes a poop on the floor and starts throwing it around the room. And people are like,
Yeah, flinging feces always changes the equation. Did you see the video from the zoo where the gorilla, like, people are like kind of baiting the I think it was a chimp, and he like flings poo and splats some poor grandma.
Oh, I love that. I love
right in the face.
Speaking about poking at the chimp who throws shit. Do you think that people poking at Dana White is a indication of his reduced power in the company, or is it WME-IMG rewarding having feisty fighters? Like, what do you guys think about the fact that now people seem to be? It's like, everybody's now smacking around Dana White.
I think Dana absolutely gives zero fucks. So it's I think people kind of realize, like, ooh, Dad, who'd been so scary before, like, I could kind of like, hey, Dad, yeah, I'm not taking out that garbage. You take out, could get a little back sassy. But I mean, the reality of it is, should be more concerning for you if you work for the UFC is that he doesn't care. You know, the most dangerous time in a relationship, people are like, oh, we fight like cats and dogs. And I get there pretty quickly. The most dangerous time in a relationship is where you just stop fighting.
If I didn't care
for more. You got the Fred Sanford handshake. You know?
I need the glasses now.
I can tell Eugene's been out of town and out of touch with these effete European elitists, because Dana has actually re-seized the reins in your absence. That's why the GSP Bisping fight got killed. That's why he's putting deadlines on this Conor McGregor Mayweather foolishness. He's trying to reestablish control of the
Yeah. You know why? You know why?
Because of what they're doing isn't working.
No. Yeah, but you know what that means? You know why he's still working? Not for the fucking fun of it. Look, when they have a big buyout like this, some guy's going to stick around to guarantee continuity. You think he's doing what he's doing because he wants to do it? Maybe there's like this ego little kind of burnish because he's fucking, they came to me, they need me. But the reality of it is he's doing it now because they can't, they're whining. You know, yo, Dana, you gotta help us. Oh, you gotta help us. Please help us. But you know, it's like, fuck. Okay. So he goes in, he puts the chairs here, kind of organizes them. You know, the deck chairs in the Titanic, and get them there. Are you okay? Things are okay. Just keep doing it like this, and I'll be over here doing my TV show and count my $300 million. Thank you very much. He's not. I mean, he's compelled to be there. He's not forced to be there, but compelled is a better word.
Sure, I can kind of see him, like, you know, at his desk or wherever he is, like he's surfing the internet, like eating some food. Like Dan's like, God damn it. Yep. Okay, fuck.
Yeah,
hey
exactly.
Guys, you want to fucking fight or what?
That's right. I mean, because they're like, you know, you guys handle it, and if you don't, I'll come in and help if you can't handle it. And then they're like, yeah, man, could you help out? It's like, fuck, gosh, shit.
Can't you see that? Don't you think that's what's happening?
I was at the UFC office at one point when I was working at Future Publishing and sitting there and watching him in his office. And it was great. It was like a creepy little tableau scenario because he was like trying to pretend to read something. And while he was reading something, I was staring at him and he could feel it. Then as he looks up to look, I look away. Then when he goes back to read, I go back to look. And I'm not looking for any other reason than just to fuck with him because I know it's making it hard for him to read, you know?
So you got hard to do stuff. Eugene, you're CNN.
Yes.
MSNBC's Mika Brzezinski condemned your repeated Kellyanne Conway interviews as, quote, politics porn. You're just getting your little ratings crack, okay? But it's disgusting, end quote. Mm-hmm. Is it time to tone down or act tone deaf to a prudish hater?
If I'm CNN, I go, you know what? The news cycle at this point now has been so fucking turbocharged that minutes after the phone, they go, Mika who? I'm sorry. We just had the president of the United States giving fucking secrets to our fucking Russians and you know, from our allies in the Middle East. Well, you mean Israel or Jordan? I mean, it's not like there are a lot, you know, my God, it's moving so fast that if you're CNN, you know, what is that old joke about you don't like your table be you
don't like the weather in Texas.
Yeah, if you don't like weather, I mean, this is nothing to focus on, you know, not at all. See, if you're CNN and you're in an editorial meeting, like I've been in editorial meetings, I'm not thinking about covering that shit at all. I'm thinking about how do we jerry rig what it is that we're doing so that we can, as quickly as possible, get in front of or around what's going to be the next outrage. And you don't need a weatherman to know which way that's going to go. I mean, right now, what everybody's waiting for is for Republicans to start to break, you know, because everybody knows if it were Hillary this was happening to, there would be mass chaos. Democrats don't have the ear of the nation in the same way that the Republicans have, but there's enough heat and therefore enough fire. So if you're a smart journalist and you're sitting at CNN, you're trying to think of like, what happens next? Mitch McConnell said we need less drama, so that's a crack in the wall. When's it going to start? Is it going to start? Can we be there and ready for it? This other shit was bullshit. So,
what do you think, Nate?
I think if you're CNN, you can get Kellyanne Conway, book it, get her on the air, get her talking. Roger Stone, any of it. This is politics porn. I mean, it's not like anybody takes CNN seriously as a news operation anymore. They're just a bunch of talking heads running their mouths to fill up airtime and sell ads. Unlike us.
Ads. What's the
We have an
ad?
ad at the beginning.
Yeah.
That means to add things, ADD.
Yeah. I got those. Huh? What?
ADHD. Yeah. There's no dignity. And from Micah Brzezinski, I mean, come on. Seriously. Like, nobody cares.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of who cares, you're Steve Harvey, Nate. You fired all your old Chicago show staff to make way for your new LA show. An embarrassing dictatorial memo sent to said staffers surfaced a week later. Is it time to make amends, lest more leaks follow?
I think Son is done. I mean, when you forget where you come from to that extent and you write stuff like that to the people you're firing, like, there's no incentive for them not to leak. This is, it's been nothing but bad PR for him ever since he moved out to LA, and I think his time has passed. I have no advice for him because he never was funny in the first place.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
I mean, his moment of greatness was emceeing the comedy tour with Cedric the Entertainer and Bernie and those guys like 15 years ago.
But you see, the thing is, divorced from historical context, people don't know why Steve Harvey is why Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey was initially positioned as a more controllable Richard Pryor. They look alike. He was like the safe alternative to the guy who was running down the street, freebasing and fucking a flame. Okay. So in the same way that I mean, you have these cognates like I can't like Freddie Prinze is going back, who's that new guy who's terribly unfunny, the Latino comic, and everybody he keeps getting George
Lopez.
George Lopez,
yeah.
man. It's
Man,
like
he is painfully unfunny.
he is fucking sucks. And you can fucking tweet that to make a gif of that and tweet that to George Lopez because you, sir, are not. I can sit and watch 18 hours of George Lopez like this. Nary a smile. But, he's no Freddie Prinze, right? He's not going to kill himself. He doesn't have the drug problem.
Unfortunately.
I got the box checked. And, fine. So Steve Harvey has been dead to me for years. The fact that the guy lumbers on mystifies me. I was happy, though. I was happy with one thing, right? What was rankling in him was, people change, right? And what was rankling him was this kind of accessibility that social media creates, and that, of course, his shtick creates, that he's just like a guy. So people want to pop in, they want to talk, and he's not that guy. It's like Robert De Niro. You can't, hey man, I got some watches. You wanna? He's not a mafioso. He's an actor, right? This guy is a comedian. He's not that guy. He makes jokes and stands in front of a mic. So people harass. I mean, in other words, I understand his peak, and I fully defend his right to say, you know what? Get the fuck out of here. I don't feel like talking to you. Danzig has it written in his contract that nobody in the venue can look him in the eye. It's something that he stole from Prince, who before you went to Paisley Park, you got to read this thing. You can't wear certain colors. You can't look the guy in the eye. And so I'm not going to sign this. And the people there were like, don't worry, we ignore that shit too. You can't do business with the guy without looking him in the eye. So, but I understand the misery he's enduring. So I think he should go home and leave America alone.
Yes.
I must say, Steve Harvey hasn't been funny in years, but Eugene talking. When you got to go back and watch this episode, Eugene, because every time you move your head, the plants dance. It's hilarious.
This is, hey, you know, everything we just did over the last 30 seconds is funnier than George Lopez's entire fucking career.
Especially the stuff he stole from Joe Rogan. Why would you steal Joe Rogan's material? Like,
I thought that was Carlos Mencia who no.
You're right. It was
Yep.
Carlos Mencia.
Oh,
They all look alike.
Oh, so racist. So
I see.
racist. I can't.
Okay.
Yeah, you know.
And this is coming from the guy in Texas.
Well, you know, I think he was just trying to catch them all, just like our next question, Eugene. You're the creators of Pokemon Go.
Uh-huh.
A Russian YouTuber was convicted for, quote, inciting religious hatred, end quote, for playing your game in a church. Does your brand demand you stand by your fan?
No. You gotta cut that kid loose. I mean, listen. There were people playing that shit in Auschwitz. There were people. First of all, I'm surprised the game is still around. There was an initial burst where people were getting knifed in parks in LA, which made me happy. People were falling downstairs and getting hit by cars, which made me happy. And then there was the Auschwitz playing when the Auschwitz goes, you know what? No. And then there was that guy who did that great art project that people were taking selfies at concentration camps. And he said that he took historical photos of those concentration camps. This is like some guy in Scandinavia. So he took with real Nazis still in them and, of course, dead bodies and superimposed them on the selfies and put it out with the people's names in a public kind of revolving format. And the people would say, oh, please, my God, you know, you're putting me to shame. Could you take my name down? And he said, yeah, you apologize. So I'll be glad to take your name down. Otherwise, it stays up, you know. So this was an interesting use of the web. So I thought that this Pokemon Go thing had already run its course. It was dead and gone and out. You know, I'm surprised it wasn't. But I'm not going to back this guy if I'm Pokemon Go. But I am hoping that people draw an interesting note from this, and that's about how powerful the fucking church has gotten in Russia. Formerly, for many years in the Soviets, the church had been brought to heel, and I know that in Poland, the church is also similarly muscular, and having cleverly co-joined itself with the power structure in a way that didn't hold in Nazi Germany, at least. So,
have you read Hitler's Pope? Come on.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's right. Exactly right. Yeah, but you know that was a relationship of convenience. I mean, he was fundamentally opposed to religious and opposed to religion because of its Judeo-Christian Judeo roots. So
I thought you say Deo like
Deo.
Yeah. So what's your take, Nate?
Yeah, there's nothing they can do to help this kid. He's in the clutches of Putin and the whole, they might want to look into something so that the Pokemon characters don't appear in graveyards and churches. Mm-hmm.
Or concentration camps.
Or concentration camps. Or prisons. They've also
filter that shit.
Appeared in prisons. So,
you know what? If people playing Pokemon Go want to wander into prisons, I would actually support that.
That was just not on the Pokemon Go.
It does seem like they should be happy for any attention they're getting because it seems to be played out.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
My kid's telling me it's way passe.
And my kid, Nate keeps putting up this, Nate keeps putting up this thing about Apple. But my prediction, which was much more apt and accurate, was about Snapchat because I got it straight from Lola's mouth. I go, kid, what do you? She goes, nah, it's dying. It don't pay, Snapchat. Apparently, they've changed the client base a little bit, and it's annoyed everybody. And something about getting points, and then if you don't win, you lose the points, and the people get frustrated and angry, and then they come out with their financials, and it's like, oh, we're down. It was great to watch the stock.
Is she on Instagram or what?
She's still doing Snap, but all of her friends are irked and annoyed, and she's not big. She's on Instagram, but she's not big on Instagram, nor is she big on Facebook. But Snap is definitely irking her, and her friends are dropping off. which is nice. I just, I see them in the little party hats up at the Snapchat office, and with tears in their faces as their stock bottoms out.
So, Nate, your FBI director James Comey.
Ha!
Speaking
This
about
pretty much has been a long time coming. All right.
President Donald Trump followed up your firing with a threatening tweet. How should you reply, if at all?
I think he has replied.
Yeah, putting out these memos is gold, and he also put them out to the press instead of letting Congress subpoena them, or he manipulated things because it could have been subpoenaed by Chaffetz, the jackass from Utah,
Yep.
Mr. Benghazi.
Jason in the house.
Yeah, that could have been just buried. Like, I think if Chaffetz had subpoenaed that would be the last we hear of it. Instead, somehow it finds its way into the press, and we get to read these memos, and we find things out like Trump asked him to lay off on Flynn. I mean, has Trump never even watched a crime movie? Like, it's just staggering at this point. Like, I don't even. I'll get to it for the heel turn, but Trump's, it's amazing. It's staggering.
How reckless can you get?
Yes,
How reckless can you get?
Getting fired by Trump was the best thing Comey could do to rehabilitate his brand image, because that guy had screwed up so bad and so many times, and all for self-serving reasons. I was actually thrilled when Trump fired him. He should have been fired ages ago, but it was clearly and I knew it would be a tactical disaster for Trump, and it has been. So hats off to Comey. You're doing brilliant work.
Well, hear how he rejected the testifying in front of the Senate committee behind closed doors because he wants to be in public when he makes his presentation.
Yes.
What's
Yeah.
your take, Eugene?
Yeah, this is the same, man. It was like you had to know. There's some people you can threaten, and there's some people you can't threaten. I had some guy threaten me, and I found him, and I punched him in his mouth, and the guy was upset. He was like, "I was just talking," and I go, "So was I. So was I. I was just talking too. I was just talking with my hands. That's all." So I mean, when he fucking asked Comey, I was like, this is a big bald move of colossal proportion, because it's high stakes. It's fucking high. You're gonna fire him, and you're gonna threaten him. And you're talking shit about the intelligence community. The last guy who did that, you know what his name was? Johnny F. Kennedy. How'd that work out? I'm not kidding.
The irony is the FBI was the branch that was helping him during the election. Their New York office were the ones leaking stuff about Clinton.
Shit's changing so fast. Look, the name of this show is If I Did It. One of the things that was interesting about the O.J. Simpson thing, from which this is drawn, is that
Allegedly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Is that those cops in L.A. fucking loved him. They loved him. They had been called to the house many a time and they fucking buried that. The average cop who might be like an average guy who might be averagely into football, or maybe, they fucking loved him. It was Johnny Cochran who said, "Look, we need a cat. Let's put the cops in the catbird seat." Of course, the cops were fucking busted heads in L.A. under Daryl Gates, but they weren't busted heads in Bel Air, Beverly Hills. The fuck out of here. They were driven by racial animus. This Mark Furman thing, Mark Furman's talking about nigga this and nigga that. He wasn't talking about the niggas in Bel Air. They loved that guy. The idea that they would have set him up was fucking lunacy. So, yeah. I'm sorry. I've got a but I mean, my point is, you're gonna fire that guy and hope that what? It's like Danzig getting punched out by Danny Mariano. I mean, it's like Danzig pushes him, chest up to the guy with his hands at his side, and expects that his aura is gonna do the best. Get the fuck out of here. Same thing that happened to Danzig is about to happen to Trump, baby.
I won't count my chickens just yet.
You know what? You watch for what CNN is watching for, what the whole nation is watching for, when the gyre starts to turn. I mean, because right now, I think the people who ultimately hold the key are the Russians, and some of the reports are saying that the Russians like that he's stupid. They don't like that he's unpredictable. You know, when stupid lines up behind unpredictable, and you get him doing some acts of malice that he won't back off from, that he can't publicly back off from, somebody's gonna slip that fucking video into the Commonwealth, and then at this point, even all but the most hardcore Trump bros are gonna go, you know what? Seeing him piss on a 16-year-old prostitute is allegedly is really not my cup of fucking tea.
Well, that's good foreshadowing for our teachable moment later. But for now, Eugene, you're Disney, talking about tapes and stuff being leaked out. According to the Hollywood Reporter, real-life pirates are demanding booty for less they prematurely release one of your films. Should you stand your ground or be the chicken of the sea?
Oh, you asking me? You asking Nate?
I'm asking you, Eugene.
Okay, so who's it? Is it Iger, or who's the guy who just died?
So Gray? Brad
Yeah,
Gray?
Brad Gray died. Bob Iger is the one who's refusing to negotiate with terrorists. I go with Iger on this one. I'm not gonna fucking negotiate with you. Gonna fucking no, I'm not doing it. You know, we're Disney. We're Disney. You know, you're lucky you're still fucking breathing. You know, do you know how much money they spent on King Arthur, the movie that no one's seeing? I like Guy Ritchie, so I feel I want to go out and support the guy. But, you know, I mean, I liked him when he dumped Madonna. I thought that was fantastic, a bit of work he did there. But they spent $173 million on it. You know how many people that employed? You know, you get hackers going to fuck with the pipeline. Look, the only reason that's even possible is because people in Hollywood who are running it are sort of tech morons, you know. Yeah,
ding, 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 ding. You finally say something that makes sense.
But they're super rich. You know, I don't have to know technology to put $2,000 in some guy's pocket and dispatch him.
What's your take, Nate?
My take is that they are so married to an obsolete business model. This shouldn't even be happening. They should be putting their shit out like Netflix does. Netflix owns the moment. The movie companies are lost in space, man. They're lost battalion.
Smoke. I'm lost in space.
People want to see what they want to see, when they want to see it, and they want to see it on their devices at their convenience. They don't want to go to a skeezy strip mall and sit with a bunch of yahoos and deal with parking and tickets. And all that. They want to binge watch on their computer in the comfort of their home.
This is coming from a father of 2 kids under 10. You know, I don't know about you, man, but I go to the theater and people love it. They love it. They still love going to the
data is pretty clear on this, that people are way streaming. People are not way streaming to the theaters, Eugene. Like, lost in the past, my friend. Lost in the past. Netflix is what's people.
I can't even get it. We could. What was that movie we couldn't get a seat to? Well, she's busy. All right, we couldn't get lines out the door. They have luxury seats now, recliners. Extreme explode.
Oh well, yeah, you get a mixed drink and you watch that. That's all fun and games once in a while, but like that's not the meat and potatoes.
I get my luxury seat and mixed drink at home, baby.
That's right. I mean, everybody's got their
own explosion.
No, actually, what I'm finding is that, and it's been a trend for a long time, that what I find ultimately dissatisfying. Well, satisfying from a certain perspective. Because the second it happens, after the movie's over, I'm at the box office getting a refund, and as that people are turning the theaters into their personal living rooms, you know. So Netflix has made it possible, like you could just talk, you text, you fucking can take your shoes off, you do it.
Pause it, rewind it. What do you say? Especially these mumbling.
Anything that ruins my movie enjoyment results in me going to the box office and getting a refund every time. So seeing a movie that you pay for is one thing. My enjoyment goes up 100%. Hey, that guy in the third row, way down there. Look at him. I don't like the looks of him. I need my money back.
So, Nate, what can Ja Rule learn from MMA?
What can Ja Rule learn from MMA? if the UFC were on a hotter streak, he could learn more. But it seems like the UFC's been learning from Ja Rule lately. I would say, man, Ja Rule has dug himself into a hole. For one thing, Ja Rule's here's what he can learn from MMA. Like I always say, when a fighter wants to promote themselves, you got to first win inside the cage. So take care of business. Train, fight, be healthy, be sharp, be ready for your fight. You know, have your weight in order, a good training camp, all that, and win your fight. Ja Rule, I mean, when was the last time anybody thought about a Ja Rule record? Like, Ja Rule doesn't do anything anymore. You know, it's like, and I'll go back and listen to Ludacris, and there's plenty of contemporaries of his, Missy Elliott and other people whose music had actual staying power. But Ja Rule, why are we talking about Ja Rule? Like, how did he even get involved with a flopped music festival in the first place? Like, this
a shared love of technology and music.
Yeah, this is a guy who's honestly lucky to be involved with a fiasco like this, because otherwise, the last time we'd be talking about him was when Dave Chappelle made the joke about him after 9/11. I mean, like, this is a guy who's so obsolete. This is like Dan Severn trying to make a comeback in 2017, maybe bringing the Yama Pit back or something. Like, that's the only MMA analog here. I don't know that Ja Rule can be helped. I just he didn't take care of business. His music has sucked for 2 decades. It always sucked, but he's doing nothing new. And now, this is just
Well, the reality of it is, I mean, there's a certain guy, and I kind of have grown to like this guy over time, but pretty much his name became shorthand synonymous for a bad movie. If somebody goes, "Oh yeah, it's got this guy in it," you're like, "Oh yeah, cool," and it's got this actress, yeah, cool. Oh, and also it's got Treat Williams in it. Yeah, forget it, because if Treat Williams in it, it can't be good. I mean, he pulled it off later in his career. We start to play to that character somehow in a way, and I actually started to like what he was doing. But it was like when they tried to turn Timothy Dalton into James Bond, and he was a really terrible James Bond. But Timothy Dalton is not necessarily terrible; he's just a terrible James Bond. Pierce Brosnan, not a great James Bond, but he had a latter day resurgence, kind of interesting. Like, so, you hear Ja Rule and you go, look, there's no late career resurgence for Ja Rule. All you need to know that things were fucked up was when I said those words, Ja Rule. Anytime that's part of your business plan, believe me. Hey, listen, I went for an interview at a job at a company called, I think, Beatnik, and the head of the company was Thomas Dolby. Right? Blinded me with science, right? And technology. Okay, so it was director of marketing. They were going to offer me a big stock take in the company, and I turned it down. My wife at the time was livid. How could you just people becoming millionaires in the? And I said, I was in a meeting. I said, as director of marketing, how do you expect me to sell this? This is my question to you. And they looked at me without a cry. Said, "We're going to leverage his celebrity." That's it. I'm out. Thomas Dolby hasn't had a hit since 1984. We're going to leverage this fucker celebrity. We're going to leverage whoever made that pitch for that festival and they mentioned Ja Rule. Jay-Z's busy. I mean, I'm just curious. Jay-Z,
on the other hand, they got people out to the festival. You can't blame the promo side. Ja Rule did his job. Like, people heard about it. There was buzz. People bought tickets. It was the execution side that failed, not the promo side.
And now that he's also the face of it, this is so crazy about it, is you have a situation where a guy who is looking to have this resurgence in his career, and he's like, "Oh, I got this guy who has money, and we're gonna have this festival, which is going to be like Coachella, like on an island that Pablo Escobar owned, and we're gonna have supermodels, and we're gonna be selling tickets from $4,000 to $400,000." And it happens in terms of the sales, and then they find out that it's a huge wreck and a mess. They say, "Look, maybe we should postpone it for next year because the logistics aren't in place." And then he's like, "No, we're gonna go forward. You know, we're gonna fuck like porn stars and get
Did
rich."
Ja Rule make the call? Is he the one who made the call to go
He
ahead?
was one of the people. He was one of the voices that thought they should go on ahead and go with the festival and take advantage of momentum. And so now, whenever they have articles out there,
like, be upward momentum and downward momentum.
Right. And so there are multiple lawsuits.
Yeah.
Now, whenever there's an article about it, his face is on it. So for now, for an MMA analogy, like if he's in the octagon right now, if he's in the cage, you know, there's no circling out that he can do. He just should turtle up and just take the L, or like, what should he do?
If I'm him, I sit on my ass, and then I tell the ref it's February. That's it.
How would that work?
I see where you're going.
Yep.
And then when they call the fight, say, wait a second, you pull a Weidman.
I didn't say it. I didn't mention his name. I didn't mention his name. I've been getting the heat from being fixated. I just mentioned the, you know, whatever.
I like things about this. I think Ja Rule could put himself into the Betty Ford Clinic and claim, you know.
That's a good move.
Yeah,
actually,
that would be the analog of telling the ref it's February. Is like, I don't even know what's happening. Maybe declare bankruptcy in the midst of it.
You got it. I think
that's claim he was taken advantage of by the business people at the Fire Festival. Like, you know.
And like Sam G, who's the mafioso would walk around Little Italy in his bathrobe.
The Chin, Vincent Chin
Gigante. Yeah, so you pull one of those.
Although, should this be it? Should he be like CM Punk then? You know, one and done, or should he go for the next year?
CM Punk ain't done.
That's what I'm saying, man. Hey. Come on, he's got a fight coming up with
yeah.
Well, he's in the mix, and then he's got to make that symbol of like something around his waist, like this. I'm in the mix. Yeah.
Oh, the mix, yeah.
Yeah, that mix, yeah.
So, this brings us to our tea for a moment. Eugene, you're President Donald Trump. What can you learn from the specter of Richard Nixon to avoid your seemingly inevitable impeachment?
First of all, Bill Clinton was impeached. It doesn't mean you got to leave the job. And you got to understand that this guy is a casino owner, man. It's about brinksmanship. You know, he's not going to pull a Nixon. That's what he's learning. Nixon didn't have to fucking resign. You want to get me out of this job? Go ahead. See you in court. One of his favorite things to say. Nah. What did Manson say? There are two ways to get to the cross. You either go willingly or you get dragged there. Anywhere that guy goes, you got to be dragged. But the funny thing is, I was going to say drag, but the funny thing is, according to insider reports, he's miserable. He actually does not like what he's doing. So it's now on that level of bad porn. You like to watch porn where people don't like what they're doing? Some do. I don't. It's not fun. You know, paying attention to this guy is not fun. He's like, every time I have a little bit of fun, you guys fuck it up. I'm hanging out with my Russian friends, and now I got that's not the way government works, man. You can't drain the swamp with a swamp. You know, and the protocols, and just like the guy said in Godfather Part 3, we have very old rules. You know, we have people that we have to answer to. You know, you just can't come in here, casino it up. It's not gonna fucking work. So, I mean, you might learn some. Actually, the lesson that he could learn from Nixon is pull that fucking ripcord. You know, don't wait. Fuck it. You know, and that way you can be back to driving and hanging out with cocktail waitresses and doing whatever else you fucking did, you know?
What about you, Nate?
Yeah, the Donald, man. It's staggering. Like, the guy, I mean, I knew he wasn't qualified for the job. I think a lot of people did. And yet, I still didn't realize just how unqualified for the job he wasn't. I mean, this stuff is... And then, like, letting McMaster go out there and lie for you, and then, well, not lie for you, but kind of artfully minimize what was said, and then just tweet and contradict everything McMaster said the day before. It's just like, you know, he doesn't realize.
It's almost like he's trying to get fired, right?
It is at this point. But Well, unluckily for him, the Republican Congress, they don't give a shit. He could be eating live babies on TV. They don't care. They're not. I don't think there's anything Trump could do to get impeached by these clowns. So he's, sort of undead. He's like Dracula going around looking for somebody to put a stake through his heart, and nobody's here to help him out. The Democrats would love to do it, but they don't have any power. So, yeah, I don't know, man. This has been Trump's worst week in the White House and he's had nothing but bad weeks.
Right.
Maybe 1 week, 2 weeks that were okay. But this week, I mean, following up the Comey fiasco with this even more incompetent fiasco. I mean, the Comey fiasco, at least it seemed like he had bad intentions. Like he's trying to fire the guy because the guy's investigating him. Or he fired the guy because the guy's investigating him. With this one, it's not even like he was trying to leak. It's not like Benedict Arnold getting the plans to West Point to the British. I don't even think the Russians wanted this. This was just like dumbass bragging about something he heard in a briefing, because I get the best briefings. Like, this was just pointless, inadvertent shooting his foot off for no reason, and then compounding it. It's amazing.
Well, one thing that I'm hoping is amazing, Kid Nate's heel turn.
Oh, pressure's on. I can't decide. I thought about doing it about Lorenzo Fertitta coming back like a ghost from the past and demanding that they do instant replay in Texas over the Eddie Alvarez, Dustin Poirier fiasco.
Which I guess means that he's still gambling. Because that's the only reason he gives a fuck.
I think you mean that he's still a true fan. And he loves to see he hates to see a great fight like that ruined, spoiled through some pretty piss poor judging and refereeing decisions. But
so what do you think should have happened with that?
Well, obviously he should have been disqualified. I mean, it was no contest. It was a disqualification.
Go on to your next point.
Yeah, shit. No respect, I tell you, no respect. But then I saw that Ann Coulter, of all people, seems to have turned on Trump. And it's like, when you've lost Ann Coulter, you're done, dude. I mean, not done. It's like, this is the first time. The only people he's lost so far on the Republican side are these assholes like Lindsey Graham and John McCain. That they weren't with him to begin with.
Yeah, he never had them. He never had those guys.
And then you got Ben Sass, who's like thinking I might jump in 2020 and rescue this party from Trump. And so he's sort of cleverly walked the line of being critical on Trump. But Ann Coulter's the only true believer, and not that she has that big an audience, but she still gets some media attention. She's the only true believer I've seen turn on Trump. And of course, it's because he's not building the border wall. It's, not anything. Yeah. It's Trump isn't what.
I mean, we just say for America who believe that he was never going to do that.
Well, it's. And if he did, it's not like it's stopping anything anyway. I mean, the Mexican cartels are like, great, we love walls because we're in the smuggling business. The harder you make it for people to get across the border, the more they're going to need the services of professional criminals. Like us. So, yeah.
Man, I wish I was a professional criminal.
Man.
A professional of any kind.
You got that
Eugene,
right. I might get paid. Yes, sir.
At least you got the Lost Battalion.
Come on. Some weeks you make it so fucking easy. It's so fucking like. Should I just go to the tweets that people send me when people say shit that a lot? Sometimes people will just send the alarm. The wah wah wah. So we have like now the Lost Battalion alarm, but then other times they just send me the quotes. Like Julio Dos Santos kind of. Just got to go back to the drawing board and think about what God's plans are for me. What? See everybody at the press conference kind of go like this. God's plans for you. You know what? God's plans for you expired about 3 years ago, man. You've been on your own fucking fumes since then, buddy. Woodpile, woodpile. Meat mist. That's it. It's it. People like to. I even read the bloody elbow thing. Oh, well, he could be relevant. He could gatekeep. Oh, are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding? I mean, look, given heavyweights the way that heavyweights are, there are a lot of you're mystified anyway, right? I mean, like, you took somebody a perennial favorite like Overeem. He doesn't have a lot of the optics on him are good. People like to see him fight, even though they don't really like him very much. Like to see him fight, but where is he? I mean, the division. These guys are big and they hit hard, and when they go down, they don't tend to fucking bounce back up. So people like one commenter said, "Knuckle Up" made a good point. He goes, "What about Francis Ngannou?" I go, "Great. How do you think that's going to help Junior Dos Santos?"
Right.
You think after what you saw against Stipe that he's gonna suddenly show up against Ngannou? No. He's in that Gauleiter General place. Yeah, he is so deep in the hole of doing Paige Van Sant copy videos, talking about how he's gonna be a 2-belt champ. There's no coming back, man. And I sat there and I had my phone at the ready, and I typed in the Twitter as I was live tweeting from the fight. I typed in, "And he's back," and I was ready for post. And then 2 minutes and 21 seconds in, I realized that was just a smoke-filled dream, a mist-filled dream. So I think it depends on your capacity for delight in the misery of others. But I'm sad. I'm sad. And real lost battalionage, ultimately, unless it's somebody you hate, it just makes you sad, man. I never hated Junior Dos Santos. I'm starting to think he might have a little company there with the guy who put him there. People are starting to talk about Kane again. I'm like, what? What? I mean, different situation, but is he on any fight cards in 2017? Or is that happening? Really? That's a pretty long fucking layoff, buddy. It's a long layoff. So, but right now, my heart is full of Junior Dos Santos, so that's my only entry. Well, it can't be an. How can you enter a place you've been?
I gotta say, the real Lost Battalion is the way you didn't give my brilliant picks enough respect and Knuckle Up, because I owned on the
you did you did well.
I haven't got Maya. I mean, everything.
Yep. Oh, you know what? You got to act like you've been here before. This is what's sad. It's such a rare occasion. You're chortling, you're chuckling. It's like, man, Nate is like, this is the first time he's been here.
My Edgar, I told those fools Edgar was going to clown Yair Rodriguez. I told them, and they doubted me.
I think that was a horrible fight miscalculation on the part of Yair Rodriguez's team.
To take the fight in the first place.
Yeah, to take the fight in the first place. I mean, it's like Denny Green said. You knew who he was when they booked him. You knew who the fuck he was. You knew none of what Edgar did surprised any single human being except for the guy on Yair Rodriguez's fucking fight team.
And all the commenters who were saying that Yair was going to stop the takedown and Frankie never hurt anybody anyway and yada, yada, yada.
I picked Yair because I thought his fight team was smarter. That Tito shit still works. Taking a guy down, holding him in the corner, and fucking him up. It's mixed martial arts. It's not pretty. But you know what? Take that pretty shit on the road, buddy, because it doesn't, it gets you TV commercials. It doesn't get you fights. Ask what's that cat's name? Yeah, exactly. Pettis. Seeing him all ringside with his gold and his white shirt. It's like, hey, mister, didn't you used to be that guy? Yeah.
Man, well, on that note, thanks for joining us. Follow us on Twitter at EUGENE'S Robinson, at Alexio, the Kid Nate. Please give us a thumbs up, Eugene. Leave comments on YouTube. Subscribe to MMANation.com on YouTube, MMA Nation on iTunes. Visit Bloody Elbow. Read Eugene Ozzy.
Oxbow. Fuck that. Oxbow, Thin Black Duke. Ozzy's all right. Thin Black Duke, Oxbow needs the help.
And it's a great album. I got it.
Oh!
Banging it.
Oh! Oh, hold on.
God.
Could you hold on a second, Alexi? Hey, Nate.
I'm waiting for my comp copy myself.
Ah!
I thought we were friends.
Alexi's a man. You, sir, are trying to open peanut butter.
I think you know what. I think Nate, you might be in the lost battalion of for waiting for the Oxbow free Oxbow record that's never coming. It's a little misty in here. Wait a second.
I want you to stand up by your wood pile and hold your breath.
To Chris, hey, excuse me, Chris, do you got something that can play CDs around here? Because I have a free CD coming. It's coming any day now.
It only costs $7.72, but I want mine for free.
Yeah, we'll be back next week with another installment. If I did it, we don't know what we're talking about because the PR mistakes have to be made.